Alright, I got another one of those videos where I talk about video stuff. In this build, I am giving my attempt at Energy Blade. My ES is super low. Let's take off Energy Blade. I was able to get to 4,392 while still maintaining the idea that I have. I found this helmet. It was one divine, which is quite fine. It's got 349 energy shield and flicker strike as its lab enchant. So I had to have it. On top of that, it's got 25 increased attack damage and 26 reduced cost of attacks, which is very nice to reduce the cost of flicker. I also found this. Nothing really particularly special, so it was not expensive. It was like 20C, but I really like what it brings to the table. Strength and intelligence, very nice for this build because I need it. That all res and lightning res, very nice. Increased rarity, which I guess is popular nowadays. Energy shield and energy shield. So this gives me a pretty good chunk of energy shield. Like it, like it. I'm running this to get my frenzy charges up to scuff. I could use a different ring, but I want to use flicker strike and I want to be able to get my frenzy charges. That 10% chance to gain a frenzy charge and 15% chance if you gain one to gain maximum makes this smooth as butter. Now this right here particularly is just because I'm running low life and I happen to become fond of this ring. I can't tell if it's working or not, but it kind of feels like it's working. I figure, you know, I'm going to be doing lucky damage. Might as well have enemies be doing unlucky damage. This is the best belt I got, so I just threw that on there. This is mostly just for the corrupted blood, but you know, 28 life, 12 fire res, pretty nice. Pair of boots, I think these were one divine. Just a high ES with, you know, some intelligence, because I wanted more intelligence, because that helps. And I don't think sapping ground does anything, but I ran out of stuff. And then these gloves, which were one divine as well. Strike skills target 2 additional nearby enemies, 3% increased damage per 100 intelligence. And I have almost 500 intelligence. How I pathed it. I am playing a Shadow Trickster. Now for the escape artist, I hate this node. In my opinion, this is my least favorite node in all of the game. And I absolutely hate it. It kind of tries to pigeonhole you. So since it was going to try to pigeonhole me, I decided to let it. So I got this body armor. This was 2 divine for a corrupted with +1 to maximum reses and +1 to socketed skill gems, which was my flicker strike to a level 28, which is pretty nice. Using flicker strike, awakened lightning penetration support, multi-strike awakened, melee splash awakened, elemental damage attacks, and ruthless. I swap in this 4 to 5 for the splash for bosses. And I'm running this way to get this, which is much worse than I thought it was. My energy shield leech, I even put on the node here to give me more energy shield leech. And I just am not leeching a lot of energy shield. Just not doing it. So far weaker than the Inquisitor's life regeneration. Now it might be better if I pathed over here and got Zealot's Oath, or if you use Joffrey's chess piece instead of this bad boy. But I really wanted to use the new version of this with the +5 to the level of movement gems. I could have used Cyclone, and I gave Cyclone a shot, but with the helmet modifier here, Flicker Strike does way more damage. So I pathed this way. Only went this way to get the 20 strength, because I need the strength, and I was popping it here, but I figured this is a more efficient use of 20 strength and 30 strength here. Get this because I need both ES and life. And ES and life jewel with attack speed, strength, and N. Pretty good. This is my lightning damage cluster jewel. I'm still doing discipline and wrath up here to make shit cheaper so I can do it. I was able to roll an extremely good one here with 6% fire, 5% chaos on each one, plus the 41 evasion. So those are pretty good. And this is just because I need the strength. Oh, and that happens to also have, that's a good cluster jewel. Also happens to have 25% increased effect. Very nice. Getting the intelligence. I'm not sure this node is worth it, but my shock is extremely low. And my intelligence, I think this boosts a ton of ES. Pathing back over this way. I would like to be able to get this, but I needed that node for something else. Actually, I could probably... I'm not doing polymath, because... Oh, nope, I got 53. I don't want any less than that, so I do need this discipline reservation. Ghost Dance is primarily the reason I am staying alive. If I'm being honest. That's a pretty good jewel. Lightning damage, life, double res. Popping over this for the penetration. Critical strikes are lucky, which is very nice, because if you look at my lightning damage, 3,000 to 59,000. Basically, you're turning that 3,000 to between 59,000 and 3,000, so it's more like about probably like 25,000 to 50,000. Maybe 30,000 to 50,000 about. And, you know, that's significantly better. I have high evasion, so I want this to reduce the damage I take from single hits. Increased effect of non-damaging ailments. My shock is very weak. I don't have anything pumping it up. This because I am running this, and I figured lucky damage on non-crits, 40% more damage with non-crits. I figure that is a good synergy to have. Since you're not critting, you can get lucky damage. Pathing back over this way, it is a sword and axe node. I'm just getting a little bit more mana regen. I was planning on getting mana regen and health regen in different locations, but I couldn't find the health regen on my gear, so I had to path into here. Either way, I'm still doing pretty heavy on the auras. I got a double aura pile here. Not too heavy, but pretty heavy. And each one of these is an aura. Increased by 10%. And that's mostly to pump up my discipline. So if I pop this discipline off. Actually, let's pop the sword off so we can see the full, so you don't have to do the multiply by 2. See, that's a good little over 800 energy shield. So I'm pumping some energy shield there. I got other nodes that are energy shield directly, and I'm not sure if that is actually better or worse. But let's take a look at it. Now, there is a couple ways you can run it. That's fun. The most fun for me is Ancestral Call without Splash. So I'm going to run that first. Because I'm going to be hitting, I think, 5 enemies. What's that? 3 additional, so 2. So I'm going to be hitting 6 times for each flicker. It's not the fastest. It's not the most farmable. But for me, I find it the most enjoyable. Let's run a wider. Let's do an Ashen Woods. Bunch of unidentified bullshit. Let's recovery rate. I don't want to do that as a demo. Less recovery rate. I don't want to do that as a demo. So let us, I'm going to just use the chaos. The reason I don't want to do less recovery rate is I want to kind of show how I'm disappointed with the... can't have him stealing my charges. More life, that's fine. It's going to make it look a lot weaker than it is. It is pretty weak, but it's going to make it look weaker. I want to demo how I'm unsatisfied with the life regen, with the energy shield regeneration. Could be that it's in half. I could take this off and see what's happening and see if it's pumping it up more. But it's really not. I don't think 4,000 is enough. I mean, I think it's pretty good damage. Just for 4,000 energy. That's not, yeah, 95 to 1916. Obviously, it can be way higher, but I got a lot of other fun stuff to pump up my damage. So it's kind of fun. You see, it's not as good as Splash. It's a little more controlled, though. And it's a little more flickery. It's a little more spazzy. You're kind of zooming around a lot more. Seems it makes connections more frequently than... Could be because the Splash blows up the whole army. But it just kind of feels like with Splash. You splash, and then there's like a stutter. And that stutter is a little less without Splash. It's kind of cool to watch the dudes just zip around, hitting fucking 6 different targets at once. But as you see with density here, kind of a little slower to clear it out. But it is more fun, more flick. And you know, if you're going to be flicking, you might as well be flicking the bean and having the fun. I'm self-casting the curse, which sucks. And you can see, look at that fucking reshield, that energy gain. It's non-existent. Absolutely non-existent for the energy shield recharge. These boys are thick. See, I'm doing 29 shock. And that's just not very good. 29 shock, not very good. Obviously, I haven't looked at the DPS numbers. It's feeling like 1 million. Maybe 2 at like the maximum. Maybe 2 million if I pop in this. So this is another way to run it. Without splash and without call. And just do very high single target damage. This is a pretty good way to run it. But if you run into a giant mob, you get into a bit of trouble because the spell suppress is too low. So modifying spell suppression to get some actual spell suppression, probably a better thing to do for this build. Right now I'm just demoing it for multiple reasons. So that is just fortify. It does work pretty well for most areas, but these big dense zones, not so good. But you get your defenses higher with the fortify. And you see, it's chopping them down pretty good. And then when you get to bosses, you don't have to do a weapon swap. That manual casting is extremely slow. I could put faster cast speed. But with this, you're getting the 50 shock. And it's a lot better in terms of damage. As you saw, it's still pretty bad. One of the lower damage builds I've built out of the past few that I've done. And all the ones I've done have been quite shit. So this is even shit. But it is my first attempt at energy shield, and I am forcing a couple mechanics. I'm forcing myself to use the escape artist properly, which is preventing me from using some of the gear I'd like. And I want to use the lucky damage, so I'm not critting, even though crit would be pretty good with energy shield. Now let's run. I'm going to run the same map. I got another Ashen Woods. Let's hit you with chaos. Like less accuracy, that won't work. Yeah, that won't work. Can't apply exposure, but that should be fine. Now I'm gonna put the splash on. So this is kind of like the creme de la creme. I like Ruthless because in my head it's giving me a big shock on that third hit. But Ruthless might not be the best. I might be able to put Ancestral Call on or Fortify instead of Ruthless. I'll put Fortify instead of Ruthless. Ruthless feels good for bossing, but probably not as good for mapping because you're mostly killing a lot of the mobs with one hit. But one of the problems with this build is its damage to elite targets. I chose a Trickster simply because Trickster gets a lot of ES on its passive node, on its ascendancy nodes. So I figured that would help, and it's up in the hybrid area, so I can get 2 hybrids. And it would have been a bit of an ordeal to path that way as a Slayer. Now, obviously you may be thinking Inquisitor is probably better, and there's no probably about it. The Inquisitor will, without a doubt, be better at this build than the fucking Trickster. And I will be proving that, because I'm going to be moving directly over to Inquisitor with this basically the same build. I'm using a different chest piece because I need the energy shield, and the Inquisitor does not get the chest piece energy shield bonus that the Trickster does on Escape Artist. So I can't use an evasion chest piece as an Inquisitor. I'll probably just get a 6-linked of that chest piece that converts health to energy shield. But then maybe not, because my life regeneration is based on health. But I could just fuck off with the life regeneration and only use vitality for life regeneration. I think a vitality pumped up with aura effect is almost, 500 by itself. 500-600 flat life regeneration and energy shield regeneration. So that should work. I'm able to get 50 towards the end. And that splash damage really didn't slow me down too much. But it is pretty smooth. Pay attention, you don't die very often. But some of these bigger bosses, because of the way I believe energy shield protect, not energy shield, lightning and elemental damage works, you're just not doing a lot of damage on the bosses. I fucking melted the shit out of them, so never mind. Oh, that last map had 50% increased HP, so this is a very unfair comparison of damage. Either way, it's pretty slick, it's pretty smooth. Now let's do a boss to prove that it's not that great. But you could do this probably a lot cheaper. I mean, I wanted to go a little ham towards the end of the league, so this bad boy, you know, divine, a divine, and then 3 divine. I've had this forever, but it's quite pricey. But nothing here is overly spectacular, and even my Watcher's Eye was only 100C. I got one with Discipline and Lightning damage while affected with Wrath, because my regen of my energy shield was so fucking low. I felt I wanted a little bit more. And I still can't even really tell. So let us do... Well, I'll just try to get a boss randomly through one of these.
How's the trail?
Stop hailing me. Nope. No. Oh, wow. Damn. Okay, well, I gotta run these. I didn't realize. I never read them. I just click and go. Reflect Elemental's nice because I'm running that right there, which removes the Reflect Elemental, which is absolutely beautiful. Yeah, and to get beyond, I don't know how good of a map Sulfur Maps is, or Sulfur Vents, but I think that's the right one. Let me do a Blight encounter. I haven't done one of those in forever. Now, I like to highlight where the build is weakest, and for this particular build, it is the spell suppression. I'm only at 6%. I'm not suppressing anything, and I only have +1 to maximum elemental resistances, and that's not cutting it. Really is not cutting it. So I need more spell suppress, and on top of needing more spell suppress, the single target damage is a bit lackluster. Leaves a little bit to be desired. Did not realize it was a 2-laner. Flicker Strike's a bit weird for these. Look at my energy shield. It's kind of pathetic. It just does not regen as quickly as I want it to. And if it wasn't for Ghost Shroud, I would really be in a bad position with that energy shield regeneration from Leech. So I know that the Leech is, how much you leech is dependent on your maximum life total. For life leech, so I'm guessing the same as energy shield. And I'm guessing when I reduce my energy shield in half, it cuts my regeneration in half. Which is why this is not very good. When I run it as an Inquisitor, the far superior class to basically every class in this game, I don't think the Necromancer class is superior to the Inquisitor. I just think that minions are a much safer and way to build extremely powerful builds. And the Necromancer synergizes with that. But I think that's more a product of just summoning skills than it is the actual brokenness of the class. But having the ability to ignore resistances, obviously I could use the chest piece that sets the resistances to lightning, but I don't really like using that chest piece. One, it's a little pricey. It's not that pricey now, but when you first get it, it's pricey. Then you gotta hunt for the gear, and then once you get the gear, it kind of pigeonholes you into using that gear for basically all your builds, and then just making every build one of those kind of builds that uses the Doriana's prototype. It took me that long to remember what that fucking thing is called. The Doriana's prototype. Obviously, that would be significantly more damage if I used Doriana's prototype with this, and that would probably solve a lot of my boss damage problems. Actually, that would solve all my boss damage problems, and it would open up all my penetration slots that I've been getting penetration on. Yeah, that would be easily double to triple my damage, and I should probably do that. But you know what? Doriana's prototype doesn't work with Escape Artist. Does not work with Escape Artist. And you know what? I'm not going to use it, because it doesn't work with Escape Artist. And I can't bring myself to waste a node. Not even a single node. Like, it's probably pricey. I can buy the Flesh and Flame jewels that give me this energy shield leech node. Then I don't have to get Escape Artist and waste a slot. See my ES? It's just so much shit on the ground, so much damage hitting me. It's never up. Even if I'm leeching, it's just never fucking up. Flickering is always satisfying. It's very satisfying to flick.
Just need a moment to catch my breath.
Oh shit. Got rid of my splash, and then here's the best spot to have splash. I'll do it splashless. Yeah, I like this map. Sulfur Vents. I have to try to remember that it's a good map. A lot of times when I play this game, I play it multiplayer. I'm never the guy in charge. I just hang out in the town, and then when a portal's open, I jump in, so I don't really pay attention to a lot of the maps I've been running. But the guy I usually play with, basically completed his build in 3 days and was done with the league. So I had to do a lot by myself. I was planning to play a bunch of different games, but all the games seemed to be bust. Super weird. Nobody can make a good fucking game anymore. Obviously, I say that as I play a great game and Elden Ring came out and all that jazz, but these smaller creators, like imagine you're the team that built Final Fantasy Tactics. And then every game you build after it is worse than Final Fantasy Tactics. Like, I think everyone should be fired. Oh, good old gut punch because my energy shield cannot maintain. I think they should just fire fucking every single person who works on those video games because Final Fantasy Tactics is old, extremely old. And it didn't really do anything that made it a perfect game. It's got a few problems in it, and they can't make a better game. All this fucking time, they can't make a single better game better than Final Fantasy Tactics. Seems pretty stupid. I'm talking about Diefoil Chronicles at this exact moment, but also Triangle Strategy. Seems like they both got an extremely low budget, but I don't know exactly the budget Final Fantasy Tactics got. I doubt Final Fantasy Tactics got some kind of giant budget. Then this guy's cock off. Goddamn damage over time. Making it so my energy shield does not recharge. I really do hate damage over time. Some dog shit. We can melee splash. Put that back on. Now let's find a boss. 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 Didn't find a boss. Let's find a boss. What are you? Corrupting all non-unique maps. There we go. You're guaranteed to give a boss. Let's find a boss. Let's find a boss. Phoenix. Cannot leech from monsters. Fantastic. Let's see what cannot leech from monsters does for me. That is not going to go well. I know it. You know it. We know it. Cannot leech. So I get to see a good example of what it's like to have zero leech of the energy shields. So back to Final Fantasy Tactics. It's not a perfect game. One of the biggest problems with Final Fantasy Tactics is the party size. Pretty sure they only give you 6. 5 or 6. And it's not quite enough. In those strategy role-playing games, I feel that 8 is about the minimum you want, and 15 is probably the max. In my opinion, 8 to 12 is kind of like the sweet spot of where you want to be with those. One of the things with triangle strategy that made it a bit dumb is it was almost always a different party allocation. Sometimes you'd get 8, sometimes they'd let you get like 15, and you never really had a solid group. You always just kind of switched around which characters you used, made you care about the characters less. It just didn't have a lot of feel. And then there was like no real customization of your character. Each character was kind of static, which isn't always bad. All the characters in Shining Force, all the Shining Forces are static, and those games are, 10 out of 10s. But that's just because, the story keeps it flowing, and then the battle designs are quite nice. Promotions. Shining Force is just great all around. Good stuff. The Final Fantasy Tactics only had 6. And towards the end of the game, you were going for optimal character strategy. Maybe not optimal. Most feasible character strategy. You're always using the custom characters, your Orlandos, and your Holy Knights. So by the time you get to the end of the game, your entire party consists of characters you did not start with the game, and these like special unique characters, which makes all the characters that you were building up to that point bench warmers. So let's say you're making a badass summoner since Act 1, since Stage 1. By the end of the game, that badass summoner is just benched because he's not going to be as good as Orlando or any of the other Holy Knights. So that's one flaw I see in Final Fantasy Tactics. The biggest, and probably the only flaw in Final Fantasy Tactics, is the party size. And the fact that those big boys are kind of the leads. What did I eat? Oh, I died on explosions. I was like, there's nothing even here to kill me. But the explosions killed me. So that is a mana problem from a lack of leech. Brutal. Oh, my clarity isn't popped. Oh no, my clarity's popped. But that wasn't popped. So that's 40% less damage. I mean, not bad for not having leech. And only getting to hit a few times. Vitality is the star of this show right now. Oh, I made it and didn't die. Really wanted to die the whole time. Like I was basically dying for begging for death, but did not die. I was able to complete a no leech. So as you saw, like, I was able to do the map. The mana is a problem, but the actual fucking energy shield, leech is pretty fucking useless when you're this low on energy shield. That is the build. We'll POB it. Well, actually, let's just fucking POB it as a group. As a team, let's take a look. Import. Start. Calandra. Cootie Queen. Calculations. Configurations. I am always on low life. I am using frenzy charges. I don't think I'm any of this. I am leeching energy shield. I have shot. I have been hit. Sure, let's say I've been hit. Oh no, that doesn't matter. Melee distance to enemy. Poison. Shocked. Let's do a flat 40. Is the enemy on sapped ground? Sure. Yes, the enemy does have lightning exposure. Is Energy Blade active? Yes, Energy Blade is active. 3.2 million is what it says. And then let's put it to a boss and watch it go to fucking dog shit. 2 million. That's what I said. I said 2 million feels about what it's at. Now let's take a look at my skills. Ruthless. Let's see what they actually say to use. Can't use elemental focus. Energy leech is what they say. Okay. More damage while leeching energy shield. Okay. Really? Energy leech, huh? Ruthless is better than Pen? Nope. Awakened lightning penetration is the best. So when you're not doing, let's do splash. Actually, let's do splash instead of energy shield. Splash. Awaken melee splash. When you're rocking the splash, you're at 1.5 instead of 2. Rocking the splash. Now let's take a look. We'll rock on the splash. Let's remove this. Oh, actually, it always forgets to put all of these on. So this will pump it up a bit. Not too much, but it, you know, makes the build functional. Let's take off this lucky damage. Yeah, that's a pretty thick node. What is a pretty thick node? Lightning non-critical strikes is lucky. Let's make sure my accuracy is packed. Yeah, that is the build. Alright, that is for the video. Now I'm gonna take a break and then move this over to an Inquisitor and do the same build on Inquisitor, and it's going to be much stronger. Alright. Now I am my Inquisitor. I'm using a lot of the same gear. Gloves, boots, belt, rings, helmet, the same. I did change the body armor to a chevrons. I figured this one would be pretty good because when I'm flickering, I'm holding still, so there's a 5% damage reduction there. Got a 6% lightning. This was 2 divines. And then I put this on, which I already had. It's because I'm going to be using power charges. Now, let us go to the zone. It's very similar to how I had the Trickster set up, except for I'm going way more over this way instead of down that way. I don't need any penetration, so I'm not getting any penetration. I don't need any real lightning damage. I'm doing this because my shock is a little too low. I did have another one of these in there, But I figured a jewel is probably better. Get that jewel in there and then get this so my shock is powerful enough. Power charges, basic lightning. Have this in there simply because it gives me more dex, and my dex is a bit rough, so, you know, a couple extra dex points in here kind of pumps it up. And then it's also 50% crit chance right there. Plus 20 evasion. Evasion's not too impactful since I'm running Grace, and Grace is quite strong. And that is the setup. Some basic cluster jewels. Reduce the cost of discipline, reduce the cost of wrath. Increase the effect. If I was a couple levels higher, I could pop into here or even here because my crit multi is a bit dodgy. So I'm using a crit damage support jewel. Gem. Same fucking thing, basically. And my crit gets to about 85% crit. And since I ignore elemental resistances, so look at that chance to hit. 87. Am I rocking a level 20 precision? 87% chance to hit with a level 20 precision. That's not good. It's not good at all. Pop into here to get some accuracy. Wouldn't really work. Interesting. Alright, real quick, I'm just going to swap out my banner then. I was doing a banner of defiance, but I will totally do a different banner to get that accuracy up. I got a blue slot there. I can slide this right in. Not that it matters, but slide that right in. Alright, now what's my accuracy at? 93%. Much better. But anyways, as I was saying, it says my flat crit is 51, but as I get hitting and my inspiration charges get stacking, it goes up to about 85. So I'm not sure whether the extra critical strike damage or the critical strike chance is going to be more beneficial. Because if I take this damage off, I only got 212 multiplier. And that multiplier is not very good. So this is almost like a double damage right there. But then at the same time, I'm not always going to be penetrating. Not always going to be at 100% crit. So I would like to be at 100% crit. So I can switch up my gear a little, not be lucky while at low life. But I want to keep it the same, pretty much, as the other one. Only difference is the armor and the amulet. And the pathing is just slightly different. Basically the same kind of shit. As close to 1-to-1 as you can get without it being actually 1-to-1. So let's just run a strand. Let's try to do some similar mapping that I just did for the Trickster. Vulnerability, physical reduction. Yeah, that's fine. It's actually really good. Bit dangerous. Got this here for the boss. Actually, put it right there so I can pop it faster. And yeah, I'll be taking that one. I ran one map. It seemed to go okay. Wasn't as good as I was expecting. It's pretty close to what the Trickster is. I think it's maybe a little stronger on uniques and bosses simply because of the ignore resistance. The energy shield regeneration is significantly stronger than Leech at such low levels. And I think that would stay true as you went into higher levels, as long as you're able to keep your life up with this one. Because regeneration is based on life. So you gotta have a pretty high life pool for this variant. And the Trickster did end up having more energy shield. And the energy shield buff put it to 19,000, where this one's only 18. Or 1800 versus 1900. But it's not that much of a difference. The Trickster was way faster. So zoom is a pretty important thing. Could be from the bonus in Frenzy Charge. I had one more Frenzy Charge. Also the fact that its action speed is buffed up. but it was faster.
I must have time.
So you're sacrificing some speed for some survivability and damage. As you can see, it's kind of cleaning house pretty good. Now let's switch it up. The charges drop pretty frequently, though. Simply because the other one has such a high. I turned off. I'm not hard casting a curse anymore. Okay, I am shocking 50%. You can see when it ignores and when it doesn't ignore. It's actually quite similar as the Trickster, which is actually pretty shocking. Make sure I'm still good there. It's shocking. I was expecting this to be way stronger than it is because of how strong the penetration is. But I think the lucky damage and the 40% more, I think that's a really strong combo. And I think because I'm unable to get my crit to high levels with this sword, I think that strong combo of lucky damage plus 40% more damage when high accuracy, or accuracy above life, I think that's outdoing the brokenness of the Inquisitor. So instead of pathing up this way, I bet if I pathed down this way, I'd only be getting life notes. I wouldn't get nearly as much energy shield. But if I was able to finally path down to this way in some way, maybe I can come through this way, this middle area. If I was able to path down and get this, and I could even pop these bad boys here to get my accuracy up, it would probably be stronger. So if I hooked over this way, went down this way, a lot of skills would be used to get there. So I probably would only do one cluster jewel. I'd probably ignore this power charge, just get this power charge and cut this whole right section off. And then come down into here. Actually, I wouldn't even be getting power charges. I wouldn't need any of this shit. I'd probably dip straight down over this way. I don't know what the fuck I'd do how to get over here from an Inquisitor standpoint. That's just awkward. But I think this and the lucky damage is extremely potent and powerful. So let us do a boss. We did a fire boss on the last one, so let's do a fire boss on this one. Reduce curse effect. I mean, aura effect. I don't want that. I don't want the minus res on there. Can't have him stealing charges. Heavy crit multi, which should be fine. Increased area of effect should be fine. So if I can remember the increased area effect when he goes big boom boom man. Well, let's see what it looks like without splash.
One of my captors
Let's take a look at my crit. So 51, no splash, 68, 82, so about 83 when I'm mapping. The extra 20% crit might be better, simply because of the ignore resistance. It's so hard to say.
I must have time to gather my will.
Pick it up, please. It runs pretty good without splash. These fuckers are always a dangerous thing when you're not running splash, though, because when you splash into their ass, they die. And when you don't kill those stupid blue cum shooters instantly, they'll fuck you up. God damn it. I'm not self-casting my curse. I get stuck in patterns. See, I had some kind of damage over time hitting my energy shield so it wouldn't regen. And that is what killed me. I don't know if I'm bleeding, corrupted blood. I can't remember what I'm immune to. don't think I'm immune to corrupted blood. I have to go back and look. I can never pay attention well enough when I'm actually playing the game to see what's fucking me over. But there's always some type of damage over time that's fucking you over. Super annoying part of this game. I personally hate damage over time because it's so sneaky. Like a snake. Sneaky like a snake. A poisonous snake is super sneaky. Yeah, I'll do that again. At some point. Very masculine. I think I prefer the Trickster, surprisingly. It's harder to stay alive as a Trickster, and your regen is much better as an Inquisitor. But the extra speed is very nice. So if I were to give this a full attempt, instead of just kind of like this, I'd give this like a 3/4 attempt. I give it a full attempt, 100%. I could probably make a Flicker Strike Energy Blade Trickster work. I could also make a Flicker Strike Energy Blade Inquisitor work. When I say work, that does not mean optimal. It's not going to be... I don't think this will ever be the build. That is the build. It's never going to be a fucking Self-Curse, Spark, none of that jazz. Look at my fucking energy shield. What is fucking me over? Just completely disabling my ability to regen. My regen should be pretty fucking high. There's regen. Life regeneration 700, energy shield 700. So I got 700 energy shield regen. And it's just not going through. Let me see. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing in this map specifically that's preventing me, that I see, preventing me from regenning. Obviously, can't regen while standing on that. Now, the Inquisitor would definitely have the leg up if the Inquisitor was like a immortal god with its regeneration. But because everything in this game is designed to stop you from regenning and hit you with damage over time and be super annoying, it's not an immortal god. It's probably the fire on the ground. I only got 75 res on my elemental. I went deathless with the Trickster. I'm probably also forgetting to cast my energy blade post-death. So since I've died like 4 times in that one spot, I am going to be popping a portal, because I'm not Trickster. I'm slow. I did not expect the Trickster to be better than the Inquisitor for this build. It is surprising. Okay. Let's drop a fucking portal here. Let's not the fucking rewalk any bullshit. Which one of you fuckheads is killing me? Frenzy charge is also a bit hard to maintain. I guess I said the duration is a bit of a problem. I hate jewel swapping, so if I was playing this build, I probably wouldn't jewel swap. Always one of those dudes in here. I wouldn't jewel swap. It's just too much work. The damage does feel pretty similar.
My mana is spent.
And that fucking AoE. My mana is spent. forgot to put my energy shield on. Fuck, keep forgetting he's got increased AoE. I don't even think I'm gonna be able to clear it. Don't even think I'm gonna be able to fucking clear it.
I must have time.
But your
to
damage is
gather my
unlucky,
will.
dude. Read my ring. Your damage unlucky. And as we know, in this game, fire damage has a huge discrepancy between the high and the low. Unlike lightning damage. Don't worry, I'll just hang out and not cast anything. Yeah, fucking Gotti. Couldn't even complete the same boss. Trickster is the winner completely. Absolutely gobber stopped over the Trickster being the better of the two. Now let's do an alleyway. It's a nice and fun map. Give this get this Inquisitor a chance to redeem himself. Redeem yourself in the eyes of your lord. Actually, let us also modify it with let's put that in and get rid of the damage, and then we can get rid of inspiration. Inspiration's always the best if it works with the thing, but we'll do it without inspiration. This will be more stable, because if we look at our crit chance, 93, now it's at 100, so all of our hits are going to be penetrating and ignoring all resistance. More stable, but nowhere near enough crit damage for this to be, like, awesome. And that's why I wanted that Nightblade use. Nightblade, so much crit damage.
My mana is spent.
Whatever that mod is, it wrecked. I guess 700 regeneration isn't that much. 1400 total. Not that spectacular. Well, give me that 15% chance to get full charges. There we go. Leave me alone, dick. I tried to dash out, but I don't even know if this can fucking map. Evasion is super low, even with Grace.
I must have time to gather my will.
Only 50% evasion. I don't know what that blue circle does, but it prevents me from regenning in some way, shape, or form. And this build is unable to handle that mod, whatever that mod is. I'm really not going to be getting much damage since my crit's already 100%, but... Fuck off of me. Just leave me alone. Leave me alone! Oh my god. I really understand what people are talking about by these Nemesis mods. I didn't get it at first because I played a Poison Reef build and I just melted everything the entire time. Never once had any issues, but now I can't cast anything. I can't do anything when I'm in that blue circle. It won't let me dash. It won't let me... I don't... have to review the tape. to see what the fuck is going on. Oh, I'm using dash, not flame dash. Okay. Thought I was using flame dash, so I have to plan it a little better to get past them. Okay, you fast son of a bitch. Leave me alone. I want nothing to... No, don't fight him, don't fight him, don't fight him. Fucker. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Okay, he's out of the way. And I'm out of portals. Yeah, Trickster better. Trickster better. He could handle that kind of shit some reason. And well, let's do another alleyway. So let's do one that doesn't give me a blue fucker. And I'm so slow because these boots. I could switch my boots up. Does these have any resistances that I need? 14% fire. And then chaos. Let's switch my boots up. I was trying to keep the same boots, but I got a pair of booties that might be a little more attractive. Look at these booties. That's all my red setup, though. That. Red. I need 2 reds. I need 3 reds. Gross. Gross. Fuck it. I don't want to resocket. I hate fucking socketing. And I do all these, like, builds where I do everything over again. And the socketing is always a fucking problem. Right at the start, one of these dudes, and I have nothing popped because I'm a fucking idiot. And I just go into a map expecting everything to be just friendly at the start. And it's not friendly. Well, that last map had something that made that dude fucking tanky. Because I just slaughtered at one of those. Too many mods to read. I'm never going to be able to read like a full stack of Nemesis mods while fighting. Especially while playing Flicker Strike. That's just not going to happen. That's why they need like a post-death thing. When you die from a mod, you can see what kind of fucking mods it had when it killed you. I mean, maybe I never take my time when I die. Maybe next time I die, I'll see if I can highlight and look at the mods after I'm dead, which might be handy. This is a better showing for the build than the other ones. And obviously I could use something other than Flicker Strike, but I bought the helmet specifically to flick around. And I got an Awakened multi-strike, so I might as well capitalize and use what I have. I'm not sure that's expensive anymore. I know I paid 10 Divine for it, just pretty close to the start of the league. Well worth it. And with Flicker Strike, Awakened multi-strike is extremely well worth it. Probably a big part of why I'm able to sustain. That and the ring. The ring is a god ring. 10% chance to get a frenzy charge, and then, yeah, that's not worth it anymore. Now that my crit's 100%. Almost 50% shock. He's doing very well. I'm guessing this is less damage. 1.3 maybe? 1.3? Let's take a look. Builder. Path building. Import. Start. I am now. I reject all the pants. Configurations. I use power. I use frenzy. Not leeching. I have shocked an enemy recently. I am on consecrated ground. He is shocked. It looked like about 40% isn't honest shocked. They are on sapped ground. Yeah, I think my boots do sapped ground. And they are on consecrated ground. Energy blade is active, and they are a boss. Believe that is everything, so let's take a look at Mr. Flicker Flick. 1 million, so it's even lower. I said 1.3, it's even lower than that. I might be missing something in the calculations, but I don't think so. So let us hit this flicky flick. Let's see what happens when I just get some crit. It's a big old chunk from just some crit. Let's go into skills, and let's drop out this increased critical strikes, and let's do increased critical damage. Oh yeah, much more damage, less stable. I'm gonna be getting bigger highs and bigger lows. If we do Ruthless, I forgot about Ruthless. Let's put Ruthless on there. We can multi-strike, Ruthless. Power charge on crit. I need those power charges. I have to use that. But there are better things. Critical strike chance. Power charge on crit. Oops. Power charge on criticals. Let's run it with that just once. 1.7 million. Pretty dog shit. Pretty dog shit. I am not liking Energy Blade. Energy Blade seems to be quite the dog shit. Now, again, it's only dog shit because I'm only half-assing the ES. I'm only half-assing all this shit. If I full-assed it, it'd probably be a lot better. Where did I put the brutality? I think it's over here. Ruthless, not brutality. So I'm going to be running it without splash just to see some higher damage numbers. And let's do another alleyways. Let's just keep to the alleyways. Keep to the alleyways that you're used to. Rivers, lakes, dams. Don't go chasing waterfalls. Cannot leech. I don't leech. Unique boss is possessed. 100%. Can't turn it down. That is a good old boy right there. Good old boy. Got my splashless wonder.
My mana is spent.
Wonder if there's something about Flicker Strike that's making my concentrated ground not apply. Maybe I have to flick and then unflick, because I only got 4 seconds. Man, Splash would have been great for this map. If that is the case, and I'm just an idiot and playing bad, which is a very high likelihood. I'm just an idiot and playing bad and flicking too long. And not getting my concentrated ground going and staying with me. That could be the problem, in which case this build is better than I am representing it. And probably better than the Trickster. The main reason I gave the Trickster the win is the Trickster didn't die as much while I played it. And that could very well be the concentrated ground going away as I flick a bit. So I'm gonna put that. I didn't keep the splash in my inventory. Let's go splashless. It works, it's just not as quick. Well, that only works because I got the gloves, which give me 3 extra strikes. If I didn't have those gloves, going splashless is not even on the fucking table. Not even on the fucking table. I don't know why I like Flicker Strike without the splash, but I do. I'm able to follow it better. Kind of, I don't know, it just feels better. It's weird. It's objectively 1000% better with Splash, like, performance-wise. But, like, following along and my eyes, this guy's gonna kill me, so I'm gonna drop a portal here, because I don't want to run again. But I do want to fight his ass. Call that killed. You kind of tell when a mob has your number. That mob had my number. Oh yeah, I wanted to test it. Now, see, I can't even look at, like... Oh, yes, I can. Stop moving. Stop moving, you fucker. Bringer, Bombarder. Well, either one of those do. Obviously shoots fire damage. And, this is dishonest. In this game, you cannot run 75. You just can't. You're gonna die over and over unless you got really high spell suppression. And I don't have spell suppression. So these deaths are all very avoidable if you just build the build better. Be Biden with this shit and build back better. Then you gotta deal with inflation. But, you know.
My mana is spent.
It's not like you plagiarized that saying from somebody else. He did. But, you know, a plagiarist is gonna plagiarize. Once you start plagiarizing, you keep plagiarizing. There's no reason to stop. Especially it's worked for him. Sure, he lost the presidency in the 80s from plagiarizing, but, you know, he eventually got there. Yeah, that was definitely better damage. Let's do one more with the splash and then switch for the boss. Where did I think I put that splash up. Yeah. Splash.
Hail God Slayer.
I could probably even modify my shock and not shock as much, because with the Ruthless, that third hit being strong is going to give me that big shock. Alleyways. Am I out alleyways? Did I just run the... Oh, I just had to scroll up. Let's do another alleyways. Vulnerability, more life, monsters can't be stunned. Alright, I like it. You know, I should be doing white-red maps just for the ability to compare accurately, so there's not like weird mobs types that are fucking my dick off. Like a possessed boss. I mean, way faster with Splash, but fucking jerking everywhere. Out of control. I think you can get like a power charge on his shield. Out of fucking control, flicking about.
I must have time to gather my will.
And sometimes with Flicker Strike, it'll flick you back the wrong direction that you don't want to go, and that'll be your last flick. And you flick too far away, so you can't flick back, and then you gotta walk. It's just awkward. I do like this skill. It's fun to flick about. More fun than using Lightning Strike. I can let Lightning Strike a couple attempts, and it is probably the strongest skill, but I don't like it. I don't like the way it plays. I don't like the way it feels. I don't like mixing projectiles with non-projectiles. You gotta do one step away from the boss to hit them with both, and then when you're mapping, you're pretty much just using projectiles. Just not my skill. A lot of times skills are the best skills that aren't my skills. Spectral Helix being one. I just don't like using it. Feels like I have less engagement. Like Flicker Strike, I'm targeting the enemies. I mean, it's targeting them on themselves, but I'm like moving to the enemy to hit them. The Spectral Helix, I can barely even tell because I don't have the MTX. My Spectral Helix are doing, so I'm just hitting a button and running. There's no, like, feedback to what me hitting that button is doing. It's kind of the same reason I don't like playing traps and mines, because I'm just throwing a mine out and then making the mine explode. There's not much feedback going on. I have never played a minion build beyond Dominating Blow. I happen to love Dominating Blow, mostly because it sounds like, you know, like a really aggressive blowjob that's dominating. But also, you get to hit people and then summon minions. You're not just summoning minions, you're in the action, you're whacking people off. You're doing a big hit. But another thing that comes with Path of Exile is specializing. So you're trying to specialize on minion damage. So your damage from doing the Dominating Blow hit is always pretty small. And I always try to make it big. I always try to make the Dominating Blow damage, the actual physical hit, real strong. I don't know why I do that. I just do that. Let's put this Ruthless on. Let's not throw that on the ground. Let's wait until I can attack. There we go. And boom goes the dynamite. Much stronger with a better gym setup. And again, people specialize on boss killing with things like the stupid totem and the punishment curse or any other curse, and I don't really fuck with that shit. I just do that, let the damage do what it does. I don't want that peak damage. I wanted it for my Divine Ire to get the peak blow, but when just mapping, I don't want to have to hit a button. I don't want to have to drop a totem. I don't want to have to do anything to get more boss damage. That ain't me. That's other players that are much better than me, or that prioritize speed and efficiency. I just prioritize fucking just chilling. I prioritize the chill. That's dog shit. Alright. I believe we are done with this demonstration. I still give Trickster the win, despite Inquisitor being the most overpowered build. I'm sure Inquisitor, if you built it better, with better gear, and focusing higher on the energy shield, maybe through an ant stacker, I don't know, but focusing on the energy shield to get the energy shield higher might make the Inquisitor pull ahead. But I think because the Trickster is in a better position and gets energy on its Ascendancy node and is faster and, you know, fucks around for a Flicker Strike variation of Energy Blade, the victory goes to the Trickster.